गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Ram Ram Ram. So since the last class we have started with another Sukthirathnani, and as discussed in the previous class it is taken from Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham. So in the first class, that is in the previous class, we discussed the first two sargas of Raghuvamsha. So I gave you a brief description of the Mahakavi called Raghuvamsha, how it has 19 cantos, and the story is about the dynasty of Ikshvaku starting from Dilipa till the last prominent king. So in the previous, just to give you a brief understanding, so in the previous class, we discussed the first two sargas, which describe the story of Dilipa. So we have seen the instance where Dilipa is a very prominent king of the Ikshvaku dynasty. He has come to power and he is ruling very well. But the only problem is he is issueless. He does not have a child. So he approaches Guru Vashishta with his wife Sudakshina, and as instructed by his Guru, Dilipa engages in serving Nandini. So it is told that Kamadhenu had cursed him because he did not respect her. So as a option, so Vasishta tells that you should serve Kamadhenu's daughter, which is Nandini, and only when you serve her will you be able to gain a son, and that is possible only if you do this. So based on that, even Dilipa starts serving the cow, and that is the first sarga. The second sarga is, as he's serving this cow, the Nandini wants to test how good or how noble King Raghu is. So what she will do is she'll create a lion called Nikumbha, and the incident between Dilipa, Nandini, and the lion Nikumbha is the second sarga, and it is given a name. So usually when you read some lessons, so when these Mahakavyas are given to you as lessons, they take some part of the sarga and give it to you. And this particular section, the story of Dilipa, Nandini, and Nikumbha, is given the name Sattva Pariksha. So this first and second sarga of Dilipa, the second sarga is called Sattva Pariksha, and at the end, Nandini tells it, I'm pleased with your Sattva, that's what it means. The goodness, the test of goodness, the test of nobility of Raghu, so Dilipa. So once that is, she's pleased, she bestows the boon that you will beget a son who is equivalent to you. And we had ended the sarga 2 telling that, so in this way, Dilipa was bestowed with a son who is to be born. So the sarga ended telling that Sudakshina's womb was filled with a boy who will be as glowing as Kartikeya himself. So that was where we had ended. So let us start with sarga number 3. So the third sarga, Tritiya sarga, starts with the birth of Raghu. So Raghu is born, and as I've told you, in the very beginning, Kalidasa tells that this Raghuvamsha is such that from the young age, they start reading. When they reach adolescence, they start taking up state affairs. Then they take up Vanaprastha once they are old, and they leave this body by doing yoga. Similarly, since the young age, King Raghu, so he's named Raghu, and Raghu starts taking all the knowledge, and he's very well versed in all types of knowledge. And then when he reaches adolescence, he's married to princesses of different provinces, and he's made the Yuvaraja. At this point again, so as I've told you in the beginning, 3 sargas are given, describe Raghu, because there are 3 important incidents in the life of Raghu which are described in 3 sargas. So in this first sarga is the first incident. So what happens is Dilipa, the father of Raghu, starts a Ashwamedha Yajna. He has already completed 99 yajnas and he's starting the 100th one. So it is told that if you finish 100 yajnas, then you gain the Padavi of Indra. So in that in doing so, Dilipa has already completed 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas and he has started the 100th Yajna. And Raghu, who is the son of Dilipa, is made the protector of the horse. So during Ashwamedha, you release a horse and it goes to various places. The king of that place can either surrender or can fight, and you should defeat him. And once you defeat all the kingdoms, your Ashwamedha Yajna is considered to be successful. So to protect that Ashwamedha Yajna horse, Raghu is placed in charge. At this point of time, Indra comes and steals this horse. Previously also, Indra would have done the same thing. When Sagara, the predecessor of Raghu and Dilipa, he also would have done a similar yaga. And in the end, Indra would have again stolen that horse and he would have taken it away. Sagara's sons, they would have gone in search of it and they would have got the information that it is in Patala Loka. When they go there, there is a Muni called Kapila who is sitting and meditating. And next to him, Indra goes and secretly ties this horse to a tree. So these sons of Sagara, they feel that this Muni has, stolen this horse. So what they do is they punish him, and even it's told that they beat him or they lash him with whip. So the king Kapila, the sage Kapila, he's very angry, and he burns all these sons of Sagara in an instant with his, with his eyesight. So the next successor of these Sagara's sons is called Bhagiratha, and Bhagiratha, as we know, his predecessor Sagara and his sons have not attained moksha. Firstly, because Sagara could have attained moksha only if his sons had done the final rites. Since they were not there, in order to fulfill their desire and to give them moksha, again we know Bhagiratha performed a severe penance and got Ganga down. Ganga, who originated from Swarga, came and descended to the earth. She finally even descended to the Patala Loka, where the ashes of Sagara's sons were there. Hence she is called Tripathaga. Patha is path. Tripathaga, the river who has gone in all the three paths. That is, in all the three worlds, that river which flows is called Tripathaga, which is Ganga. Hence, after having flown, she would have given moksha to Sagara and his sons. So similarly, in the similar fashion, Indra has now stolen the Ashwamedha Yajna of Dilipa, Ashwamedha horse of Dilipa, and he has vanished. So he has become invisible. But because of the powers of Nandini, Raghu gets the divine eyesight, and he can see where Indra is hiding. So once he detects where Indra is, he challenges Raghu challenges Indra. He tells that it is not befitting for a person like Indra to steal someone else's Ashwamedha horse. But then Indra tells that, see, Harir Yathaika Purushottama Smrito Maheshwara Stryambaka Iva Naparaha Tatha Vidurma Munaya Shatakratum Dvitiyagami Nahi Shabda Eshanaha. So in this entire world, there is only one person who is called Hari, that is Vishnu. In this entire world, there is only one person who is called Trayambaka, who is Shiva. In the same way, till now, there is only one person who is called Shatakratu. Shatakratu is a person who has completed 100 yajnas. That person is called Shatakratu. So in this particular world till now, there's only one person, that is me, who is called Shatakratu. Hence, I will not allow a second Shatakratu to arise. So that is why I'm taking away this horse, so that your father Dilipa does not finish 100 yagas. So now he tells, if you don't go away now, similar to how Sagara stole his horse, I am stealing your horse. So you'll also be defeated. So you go away and don't come searching, don't come behind me in search of this horse. But then Raghu tells that, I am not scared of you. Pick up your weapon and fight. Only if you defeat me, I will let you take the horse, or else I won't let you take the horse. Finally, a very big battle emerges between Indra and Raghu. And in the end, once Indra is feeling that none of his weapons are working and Raghu is strong, he finally uses his Vajrayudha. And once he uses his Vajrayudha, Raghur Bhrisham Vakshasi Tena Taditaha Papata Bhumau Saha Sainikashrubhi. Vajrayudha is used, by Devatas, that is Indra, on demons. He is using it on a mere mortal like Raghu. So once he strikes his Vajrayudha on Raghu instantly Papata, he faints, he falls down. And his Sainikashrubhi, so his soldiers started crying, thinking that Vajrayudha has killed our king Raghu. But Nimesha Matrena Tad Avadhuya, in a matter of a minute, he just he regained his consciousness and he got up. Uthaya Sainika Harsha Nishwasanaihi. And immediately once he got up, all the soldiers were amazed that Raghu is so capable to even withstand the blow of Vajrayudha. And thus he continued fighting. And in the end, Indra feels that even if Vajrayudha can't defeat Raghu, surely he is a great ruler. So surely he's a great warrior. And he'll tell, ask me any boon except this horse. So other than this horse, ask me anything and I will give it to you. So then Raghu will tell, Amochyam Ashwam Yadimanyase Prabhu. Oh Prabhu, oh Lord Indra, if you feel Amochyam, if this horse, you cannot give up this horse, then that Samapte Vidhinaiva Karmani Ajastri Diksha Payata Samad Guruhu Kruto Rasheshena Phalena Yujyatam. So you have told me that you cannot give me this horse. So what I ask from you is, Mad Guruhu, my father, is performing this yajna. So even though you are not giving back this Ashwa, make sure that he gets the complete phala, that entire fruit that one gets by doing the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna. Make sure that my father gets that particular phala. Asheshena phalena yujyatam. So there should not be any problem. It should be like he has completed Ashwamedha Yajna, that type of fruit, please give it to him. And further he tells, so it is not just you have to give this boon. you personally or your messenger should personally go to Raghu and tell that, oh Raghu, sorry, oh Dilipa, he should go to Dilipa and tell that, oh Dilipa, don't worry about your Ashwamedha horse. Don't worry if it comes back or not. But I'm giving you this, confidence that I'm blessing you with the Purna Phala of 100 Ashwamedha Yajna. So that is the condition that Raghu tells. So first thing, Dilipa should get the complete fruit of the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, and Indra or Indra's messenger should personally go and inform Dilipa that his Ashwamedha Yajna is successful. And as asked, Indra sends his messenger and he tells Dilipa everything that has happened, the battle between Indra and Raghu. He explains everything. And once Raghu comes back, Dilipa, already who is aware of the battle, he embraces Dilipa. And how is Dilipa's body? Tadiyamangam kulisha brana ankitam. So that body which has been scarred by Vajrayuda, kulisha brana, that is Vajrayuda ankitam. So that body that is scarred by Vajrayuda, such type of a body, Dilipa embraces. And he's very happy. Itikshitishe navati navadhikam mahakrutunam mahaniya shasanaham samarurukshu divimayusha shaye tatana sopana paramparam. So having hence completed 99 Ashwamedha Yajna and having obtained the complete fruits of the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, it was as though that Dilipa, who wanted to go to Divi, that is, who wanted to ascend to Swarga, had made 100 steps to reaching Swarga. In this way, his 100 Ashwamedha Yajna was successful, even though he had completely completed 99 Ashwamedha Yajna. And hence, Dilipa, seeing that, Raghu's, he has seen Raghu's capacity, he can even fight with Indra and win. So having seen this, Dilipa feels, okay, he's relieved that Ikshvaku dynasty is in good hands. So as in the, previously stated, Vardhakya Munivrittina. So having hence decided that, Raghu is a capable ruler, he takes Vanaprastha and gives the kingdom to Raghu. So that ends Tritiya Sarga, the Sarga number 3. So this is the first incident in Raghu's life. Chaturtha Sarga starts with Raghu ruling the kingdom. So Raghu has now become...
Anna,
yeah.
Anna, before you start the Sarga, I have a question.
Yeah.
If Raghu has won over Indra, he can also be called as Indrajit.
Yeah, anyone who can defeat Indra is called Indrajit. Indrajit is just a padavi, as I've told you, like Vyasa. Vyasa is a padavi. Indrajit is a padavi. Shakrajit is a padavi. So it can be given to anyone who can defeat Indra. So now Indra, this Raghu has started ruling the kingdom, and Dilipa has gone, into Vanaprastha, and he has probably left this world and attained the higher world. That is, he has expired. Now, Dilipa was a very good king. People liked him a lot. But once Raghu started ruling the kingdom, the people started forgetting Dilipa because Raghu himself was ruling the kingdom in such a way that, similar to how when a mango tree starts bearing the small flowers, it gives out a fragrance. That fragrance is good. But once the mango tree starts giving out mango fruits, it creates a new fragrance which is so much more better that you forget the smell of the flowers. Similar to this, once Raghu started ruling the kingdom, they started forgetting Dilipa and they were more excited under the rule of, or they were more happy under the rule of Raghu. Now, Raghu was told to give appropriate punishments. Sahi sarvasya lokasya yukta dandataya manaha adade nati shitoshno nabhasvaniva dakshinaha. So, his punishments were appropriate. Na atishitaha, na atishitaha, na atiti, na atishitaha, na ushnaha. It was not very hot, not very cold. That is, it was not very harsh, telling that for a small, mistake, he didn't give a very big punishment, or he did not give punishment at all. It was neither. He gave appropriate punishment, and Kalidasa compares it to Dakshinaha, the wind, the southern winds that flow. They're neither very hot, neither very cold. Similar to the southern winds, the punishment given by Raghu was also appropriate, which was not very harsh or not very mild. Then Raghu decides to do a Digvijaya Yatra. So as told, Yashase Vijigi Shuna, these people, Ikshvaku rulers, they went on Vijaya Yatras, Digvijaya Yatras, not because they wanted to collect wealth or they wanted to defeat other soldiers, other kingdoms. They just wanted to gain fame. So in order to increase his fame, Raghu decides to do Digvijaya Yatra. And this Digvijaya Yatra is the second incident in Raghu's life, which is the context of Chaturtha Sarga. Now, first thing he does is he secures his kingdom, because if it was a normal battle wherein someone has attacked you and you are trying to protect your kingdom, you're safe. But in a Digvijaya Yatra, you have to leave your kingdom and go all around the country to win over different kingdoms. Hence, in this point of time, if you have not secured your kingdom, someone else can attack you. So the first thing Raghu does is he secures or protects his kingdom first, and then he starts his march, his Vijaya Yatra with 6 armies. So we have heard of Chaturangi Sena, wherein there are 4 different sets of army. But for Digvijaya Yatra, Raghu chooses 6 armies. Shadvidham Balamadaya Prasthe Digvijagishuna. So, in an intention to win over all the directions, Raghu started his Vijaya Yatra with 6 armies. Here, the beautiful, poetic, caliber of Kalidasa is known. What happens? The sentence given by Kalidasa is Rajobihi Syat Anodhitaihi Gajaischa Ghana Sannibhaihi Bhavasthalamiva Vyoma Kurvan Vyomaiva Bhutalam. So 6 armies, you should understand that the armies are very big. So, if you tell one Akshauhini, there are so many soldiers, there are so many elephants, there are so many horses. So he's taking an army which has 6 different types of armies. So such a big army has so much of chariots and so much of elephants that when they start moving, the chariots raise dust. That is the sand that is there on the ground. It starts raising the dust. And he's telling that because of the huge army, the amount of dust raised is covering the entire Akasha. And he has so many elephants that are of good breed that these elephants resemble dark clouds. Because of their dark grey color, they appear to look like dark clouds. And in doing so, Kalidasa beautifully tells that Bhuvastalam iva vyoma. So the ground, because of these elephants, looks like Akasha because these elephants are like clouds. And Kurvan Vyomeva Bhutalam. And because the Akasha was covered by sand, it appeared as though it was a sand-filled ground. So it interchanged. Because of this huge army's march, it appeared as though sky had become the earth and earth had become the sky. Why had sky become the earth? Because of the enormous dust raised by the chariots. And why was earth like the sky? Because of the enormous amounts of elephants that looked like clouds. Beautifully has told. Now, a Chaturangi Sena, as I've told you, there are 4 sets. So that is, there will be 729 elephants, 729 chariots, 2,187 horses, 3,645 foot soldiers. So this makes one Chaturangi Sena. But Kalidasa tells that this was not the Chaturangi Sena that Raghu used. First one, Pratapo Agrataho Agretataha Shabda Paragas Tadanantaram Yayo Paschad Rathaditi Chatuskandeva Sachamuhu. So first, Pratapa Agre, his valor or his glory went first. That is the first Sena. Second came the noise of the approaching army. So when an army is approaching, they'll start screaming, the elephants start trumpeting, the chariots make noise. So that noise is the second Sena. Third one is Paragaha, the dust raised by these chariots is the third Sena that went, and it was only the fourth one. Chaturthaha, what was that? Paschad Rathi, the chariots and all came later. So it was not these elephants, chariots, horses, or foot soldiers that were the Sena. First went the glory or the terror of Raghu's name. So once that came, the first Sena that came, people were already afraid. Second came the noise of the approaching army, which again created even more fear. Third came the dust. So the dust raised was so enormous that they understood that it is a large army and they were even further scared. And only after they were scared so much did the actual army come to battle. So this is how Kalidasa describes the Chaturangi Sena of Raghu. So now Raghu starts his conquest starting from the east. So he starts in the east, and the method, how he approached the kings is told very beautifully by Kalidasa, that Anamranam samudhartuhu tasmin sindhuriva yataha atma samrakshita suhmaihi vrittimashritya vaitasi. So he is like the ocean. So if there is some king who is very stubborn, like a tree, similar to how a flood uproots the tree and takes it along with it, similarly, if there was a stubborn king, Raghu did not even think twice and conquered it with ease. But if there was someone, Vaitasa is the grass. So when a flood comes, how does the grass behave? It surrenders easily. So there is no need for the ocean to pull it, uproot it. Hence, there were some kings who were like the trees. They were very stubborn and they were arrogant. And similar to how a tsunami or a tide comes and uproots these trees, Raghu went and uprooted or dethroned these kings. But there were some kings who were ready to surrender, telling that Raghu is a very good king and he's doing a Digvijaya Yatra, so they surrendered. For those people, he was a very kind person. Now, Raghu first go to Vanga Desha. So after going to this particular place called Sukhma, the king of Sukhma, accepted defeat, like he surrendered and there was no bloodshed. After this, he goes to Vanga. At this point of time, I'll tell you something. So Hari Kathe is a very prominent type of storytelling culture that has come in India. And if you listen to some very good Hari Kathe singers, for example, Guru Rajal Naidu is a very prominent person in Hari Kathe. He uses a very good phrase to describe the various names of the various territories that existed at that point of time. He uses the phrase.
Anna.
Hello.
Anna, even Vishakahari is a Harikatha.
Sorry.
Even Vishakahari is a Harikatha person.
Yeah, correct. So there are several people. So I actually follow Guru Rajal Naidu a lot. And in his Harikathes, you'll come across a very common phrase. Anga, Kalinga, Kashmira, Konkana, Madava, Sindhupura, Saurashtra, Gurjar, Barbara, Vidarbha. So he uses this in a very fast pace. Of course, I can't tell it in that fast pace. But if you listen to Guru Rajal Naidu, this is a very common phrase which gives you the 64 or odd number of territories that existed during that time. So you can listen to these Harikathes to get even more interesting aspects. So Harikathe, actually what happens is they either take the actual story and narrate it, or they take these lokakathas, these folklores, and also make it as stories. So it's a very good place to learn mythology even better. So then he goes to Vanga. Then further he reaches Kapisha Nadi. So he builds a bridge across the Kapisha Nadi and reaches Kalinga. Then after conquering all these eastern kingdoms, he comes south. There he goes to the Pandya kingdom. And Pandya king, as we know, it is in the Tamil Nadu region. So he's covered by oceans on all sides. So he goes, collects the precious gems and comes and surrenders all those gems and his kingdom also to Raghu. Then he goes to Kerala, and there he goes to the west to Sahyadris. There he conquers Mount Trikuta, and since it is customary, so wherever you win, you have to erect some type of a statue which tells that okay, Raghu had come here and he has captured this place. But once he conquers Trikuta, the Trikuta mountain is considered to be a very tall and very famous mountain. So once he captures that itself becomes his victory symbol. Then he goes and conquers the Parashika kings. Then he conquers the Yavana kings after a very fierce battle. Then a very good comparison is made. It tells that as he's going, it is like sun who has sun rays which are as sharp as arrows, and Raghu has arrows which are as abundant as sun rays. So here he makes a comparison between how sharp the sun ray is and how abundant Raghu's arrows are. So after having given this very good simile, it continues. So now he has finished east and south. Now he has also finished west. Now he is going to the north. There he goes and defeats the Hunas, and there he also goes to Cambodia and Kabul and defeats the foreign kings there as well. And a fierce battle actually occurs. So after he has gone to all these Kabul and all that, he starts coming back, and on the way he comes to Himalayas, and there the tribes of Himalayas, they also have a very fierce battle, and finally Raghu wins over them. And then he comes to the Paranjyotishapura, which is one of the last kings, and then the king of Paranjyotishapura also surrenders, and similarly king of Kamapura also surrenders, and in this way he conquered all the directions. So if you read the actual Raghuvamsha, Kalidasa beautifully tells how he approaches the king, how the king reacts if he surrenders or if he has a battle, and if there is a battle, what is the fierceness or how fierce is the battle. So you can experience all that when you read the actual Kumara Sambhava. So in this way, starting from east, going to south, west, and north, he has won over all the directions, and he has come back to his capital city. Now, after having won over all this, now he has, whenever he wins over some kingdom, he gets some gems, he gets some wealth, he gets something. So he gets all these, amassed. He has amassed so much of wealth. But what did he amass this wealth for? Kalidasa tells it. All this has been amassed for charity. Why? He gives a very beautiful shloka that Savishwajitim Ahne Yagyam Sarvasva Dakshinam Adanam hi Visargaya Satam Varim Uchamiva. So he tells Varim Uchamiva. So Adanam, whatever you gain, Visargaya is for giving away. Adanam hi visargaya. Very beautiful phrase which you come across in several places. So Adanam hi visargaya. Whatever you collect is for giving away. And we have also seen in the previous, when I was telling about Mahabharata, Pipilika jitam dhanyam makshika sanchitam madhu. So you should never collect. Whatever you collect should be used effectively. So why did he go on a Digjaya Yatra and collect so much of wealth? Because he wanted to give them as charity. Adanam hi visargaya satam vari muchamiva. Vari much. Vari is water, much is collector. So a collector of water is nothing but clouds. So the mentality of great people is like a cloud. Why does it collect water? So that it can shower rain. Similarly, why did Raghu go on a Digvijaya Yatra to collect money so that he can visargaya, he can do charity? So with this beautiful shloka, Chaturtha Sarga comes to an end. So Chaturtha Sarga was about the Digvijaya Yatra of Raghu. Now the fifth Sarga starts with the Visarga, the Dan after ending the Vishwajit Yagna. Now Raghu has decided to do charity, and this is the Sarga where he is performing the charity. Now Raghu has given away, so people from all directions have come, so they had so many needs. They would be in need of money, wealth, clothing, whatever, food, grains, whatever. So they've come from all directions, and he has given away everything he has. And at that time, Raghu, who has been a king, who is eating in golden plates and drinking water from golden tumblers, he's now eating food from the mud pot, and he's drinking water also from a mud pot. So that shows that he has given away everything he has to the people who have come. At this time, a Brahmin called Kautsa, who is the Shishya of Bharatantu, he approaches or he comes to Raghu. So this section, as I've told you, Sarga number 2 is called Sattva Pariksha, and Sarga, the Panchama Sarga is called either Ragoho Audaryam or Kautsasya Guru Bhakti. So this particular Sarga is given this name. And of course, we have actually enacted this particular part, this Sarga, in front of Sringeri Jagat Guru under the guidance of Srimati Anantakshmi Natarajan. So I was actually, I was happy that I was, playing the part of Kautsa in this particular act. So if you have been part of that, it is very good. And also, when you go to Turiya, you also have this particular section coming in as one of your lessons. Ragho Raudaryam is the name of the lesson. I'll give you a brief introduction of or clarity about this Sarga. So Kautsa is a Shishya of Varatantu. And as usual, as we know about Kalidasa, whenever there is a guest, the first thing that the host does is he does Atiti Satkara, and Atiti Satkara after that is done. Again, Kalidasa, why I'm telling, so as you can see, whenever I'm telling something, I cross-reference it to something else. I tell some other Subhashita, or I take reference from some other story. That's called cross-referencing. How that helps is, that helps to know the similarity between works, and that is how even critics, they decide if this work is written by Kalidasa or not. So please get a hang of this cross-referencing because it is very helpful. So as we have seen in Kumar Sambhavam as well, when Parvati meets that brahmachari who comes, first he does his Atiti Satkara and then there's Kushalopari. Similarly here also, once Raghu has completed the Atiti Satkara of Kautsa, he asks Kushalopari. And Kalidasa time and again tells, when you're speaking, think and speak, use your words perfectly. So there, that brahmachari who had come, he asked, so are you getting enough kusha grass for doing your daily puja? Are you getting enough water for bathing and doing your puja? Are you doing a penance that is suitable to your strength? Because dharma, so he tells that sharira madhyam khali dharma sadhanam. So in that way, so based on that context, the kushalopari changes. Here what he is asking is, Raghu is asking, first thing, is your guru fine? Because only when the guru is fine, the shishya is fine. So the first thing he asks is your guru fine? Next, is the penance that he is performing happening without any problems? Then further, Kalidasa is a Prakriti Kavi, we know that. So he asks, so are the trees that were planted as children by your guru Varatantu, are they growing well and are they safe? Is the wind giving you trouble by uprooting these trees, or are these trees fine? Then he's telling, is the breeze cool and is it soothing to you? Then again, being a Prakriti Kavi, he asks, so there are several deers near your ashrama, so are they all fine? And he particularly asks, the female deers, are they able to deliver children without any problem? Because in several Puranas and several Granthas it is told, whenever there is a calamity or whenever there is something bad happening, the animals are not able to continue their progeny. That is, they're not able to give birth freely, and there is some problem, and the mother dies or the child dies. So these things happen. These things are indications that that particular place is not good or something bad is happening. So Raghu indirectly is asking if that place is safe or good. So he's asking, are the deers in your ashrama able to reproduce freely? Are they able to give birth freely? After having asked this, he asks, are the rivers in your region, are they flowing well and are they clean? Are there any bad people who are trying to pollute the rivers, or are the rivers still clean? And are you getting enough food grains? Two reasons. One is these rishis have to take some amount of food. Next thing is these ashramas have a lot of guests. Several guests keep coming to these ashramas. Hence, Atithi Satkara is Shreyaskaraha. So that is important. Hence, to serve them, they should have enough amount of grains. So Raghu is asking, so are you getting enough amount of grains to serve your food as well as to serve your guests? And finally, he comes to Kautsa. After having asked everything about the guru and the ashrama, finally he asks Kautsa. So, of course, at that point of time, the king, of course, if he's a very good king, he'll know everything about every single person. So he knows that Kautsa has completed his studies. So he asks, so you have completed your studies under the great guru Varatantu. So have you been permitted to enter into the second ashrama? Because once you reach a particular age, you should have ended brahmacharya and you should be ready to get into grihastha ashrama. So Raghu is asking, have you gained permission from your guru to enter into the second ashrama? So in this way, the Kushalopari is beautifully portrayed by Kalidasa. And after having told all this, finally he asks, so O Kautsa, now tell me also, why is it that you have come here? Have you been ordered by your guru to come and meet me, or have you come here on your own? After asking all these questions, then Kautsa tells the answer to all these questions in just one shloka. Sarvatrano vartam avehi rajan nathe kutastvaya shubham prajanam surya tapatyavaranaaya drishpehe kalpeta lokasya katham tamisra. So he tells, Nathe, O Natha, O king, when there is a king who is like you, who is ruling us, kutaha ashubham, how can there be ashubha, how can there be something bad happening? Sarvatra, everything, sarvatra, everywhere, it is good only. Further, he is giving an example that when there is sun who is shining brightly, how can darkness think of coming and covering our eyes? Tamisra, that is darkness. Lokasya katham kalpeta, how can darkness come and try to cover the earth when there is always the sun who is shining brightly and who is destroying this darkness? In a similar way, when a great king like you is ruling us, how can there be problems in all these things you have asked? So everything is fine. But then Kautsa tells that, but I am feeling sad personally that I have come at a wrong time. So I have come at a time when you have given away all your wealth and beautifully Kalidasa tells, Sharira Matena Narendra Tishtan Abasit Yetha Pratipada Tadhihi Aranyakopata Phalaprasutihi Stambena Nivara Ivavashishtaha. So he's comparing. So he's saying that I have come at a wrong time because now you have given away all your wealth and you don't have any wealth left. And how are you looking? Aranyakopata Phalaprasutihi. So Nivara is a type of rice or a paddy. It's a variety of paddy. And he's comparing him to a Nivara wherein all the food grains have been taken away and only the stem is remaining. So Sharira Matrena, you're standing only with your body. That is, you don't have anything else to give. So you're like the empty stem of the paddy wherein all the food grains have been taken away. So beautifully he compares. Now, then he tells, Tadanyatasthavadanya karyo Gurvarthum aham artumaham yatishye swastyastute nirgalitambu garbha sharadghanam nardati chatakopi. Hence he'll tell that swastyastu. Okay, so let there be good. So it's actually, I can't blame you because I should have come early, but I have come late. So swastyastute. Okay, let good be there. Tat anyataha Guruvartham artham yatishye. So I will try to gain whatever is my intention, artham, my desire. I'll try to fulfill my desire somewhere else. Anyataram yatishye. I will try. Swastyastute. So he tells, okay, let good thing happen because it is not the king's mistake. So he's still blessing that Raghu, saying that Swastyastute, but he does not call him Raja. He calls him Nirgalitambu Garbha. Beautifully. Ambu is water, Garbha is stomach. So what has water in its stomach? Clouds. So Ambu Garbha is nothing but cloud. But what type of a cloud is Raghu? Nirgalitambu Garbha, the cloud that has shed all its water and which is dry. So such a type of Raghu. O Raghu, who has given away all your wealth and who is like the cloud without water. So that type of Raghu, may good happen to you, swastyastu. And further he gives a beautiful example, Sharadghanam nardati chatakopi. So you should understand in Sanskrit literature, there are some imaginary animals, imaginary birds, imaginary mountains, which are given prominence. For example, Sumeru, Mainaka, all these mountains are taken as prominent mountains, and Hamsa, Chataka, Charvaka, all these birds are given prominence. So Hamsa is famous for his Nirakshira Nyaya. It can separate milk from water and drink only the milk. And this thing, Chataka, is a bird that drinks water directly from the clouds. So it is told that it has a mouth on the top of its head, so that whatever the rain drops fall, it can directly drink. So it does not drink from any other source. Only it drinks water from clouds. And there is again, there are such birds which are very prominent. Chakora is a bird which drinks moonlight as its water. It does not drink any other fluid. So they have such birds, peculiar birds, beautifully to increase the beauty of Sanskrit. So here he's telling that Chataka, as I've told you, it's a bird that drinks water from the cloud, but even that Chataka, na ardati, it does not ask water from whom? Sharad Ghanam. So Sharat is winter. So in winter, the clouds have already shed all its water in the rainy season and now they're dry. So Chataka, who wants water, even that Chataka will not ask the winter clouds for water. Similarly, I cannot ask you, who has given away all your wealth, for any further money. Then finally Raghu asks. So after when Kautsa, he sees that Kautsa is disappointed, Raghu tells, Kautsa, he asks, Kim vastu vidvan gurave pradeyam tvaya kiyadvyeti tamanvayunta. Hey Vidvan, O scholar, Kim vastu gurave pradeyam, what is it that you have to give to your guru, and kiyat, and how much? Then Kautsa tells, okay, listen, O Raghu, Samapta vidyena maya maharshihi vignapito bhut gurudakshinaye same chiraya skalitopachara tam bhakti meva ganaya prasthat. So he tells that, so Samapta vidyena, so I who had completed my education, maharshim gurudakshinaye agnyapata. So I asked my guru, what can I give for gurudakshina? What did he tell? Chiraya askhalitopachara. He considered my guru bhakti and my guru seva itself to be the guru dakshina, and he tells purastat, so that is enough. But nirbandha sanjata rusharthakarshyam achintayitva guruna hamuktaha vittasya vidya parisankyayami kotischatusro dasha chahareti. But I was not satisfied. I wanted to give something as guru dakshina, so I continuously pestered my guru, asking, please tell me something, please tell me something. So in the fit of anger, my guru told, vittasya vidya parisankyayami. So vidya parisankhya. So there are just a certain number of knowledges, and Kautsa had attained 14 types of knowledges from Varatantu. So he told, equivalent to the number of vidyas that you have attained from me, vittasya, give that in money. And how much is it? So it is 14. It's not like I want 14 rupees or 14 gold coins. He tells, kotihi, you should give it in kotis, crores. Kotihi chatusraha, 4 crores, dasha chahareti, plus 10. That is 10 plus 4, 14 crores of gold coins, ahara, get me. So that is what, finally in anger, the guru tells. And again, why did he not tell Chaturdasha, and why did he use Dasha, Chatusra, etc.? Even when I told you about in the Dilipas, when he was serving Nandini, we didn't use Eka Vimshati, 21 days. Kalidasa uses Saptavyati Yuhu Trigunani Dinani, 7 times 3, 21 days. And even if you read Valmiki's Ramayana, when Kaikeyi asks Dasharatha for the second bone, she does not ask Chaturdasha Varshani. She'll tell Navapanchasha Varshani Dandakaranyam Ashritaha. So why all these splitting happens? The basic reason is there is a chandas for each and every shloka. In order to fit the wordings in the chandas, this splitting is done. And of course, in some cases, for example, some people tell that it is Navapancha, this in particular, this 14 years of exile. 14 years, if it was told it is a punishment, but since it is not a punishment, it is just a diversion for Rama. In order to make it less harsh, it is told at Navapancha. But of course, usually the reason is to maintain chandas. So here, for example, Varatantu told it, give me 4 crores plus 10 as my Guru Dakshina. Now, after having told this, story, Kautsa tells, so now you know the story, what has happened, but now I can't ask you for anything because you have given away all your wealth. So it is fine, I will go somewhere else and search for the source of this money. Then Raghu tells, Gurvarthamarti Shrutaparadashva Ragho Sakashat Anavapya Kamam Gato Vadanyan Taramityayam Me Mabhut Parivada Navavataraha. So now Raghu finally tells, see, Raghuvamsha, like the Ikshvaku Vamsha, is famous for not going back on the word given. not removing the arrow that has been mounted on a bowstring, and also for not letting a yachaka, a person who seeks something, to go empty-handed. So he's also telling ma bhut parivada navavataraha. So before me, no one in this dynasty has sent a seeker empty-handed. Let me not be the first person who creates this black mark or this black dot in this beautiful dynasty. So please don't make me the source of this mockery, wherein people will think Guruvarthamarthi. So someone came to ask for Guru Dakshina, Ragoha Sakashat, near Raghu, but Anavapya Kamam, but he could not gain that desire. He could not fulfill that desire with Raghu, and Gataha Vadanyantaram. He went somewhere else in search of it. So that let that black mark, let that taunt not be started because of me. So please, he'll tell, don't go elsewhere. Satvam prashaste mahati mahiye vamshash vasans chaturthor agnirivagnyagare chitranyahani arhasi sodumarhan yavadyate sadhayitum tvadartham. So over, oh Kautsa, don't go anywhere. I have a very big Agnyagara. So Agnyagara is a place where, or Agnishala, what you call, is a place where there are Agnis that are lighted. And it's told that we have 3 types of Agnis that should be lighted in every house. First one is Garhapatya, then his Ahavaniya and Dakshina Agni. So these 3 are the Agnis that should constantly be lit in every house. And you have, being a king, he has probably a separate place called Agnishala where these Agnis are placed. So he tells beautifully, Kalidasa has used a beautiful phrase, Chaturtha Agni Iva. So in my Agnishala, where there are 3 Agnis, you be the 4th Agni and stay there for how many days? Dvitrani Ahani, for 2-3 days you stay there. And what will I do till then? Yavat, till then, Yate, I will try. For what? Sadhayitum tvadartham. In order to fulfill your desire, I will try within those 2-3 days. So please don't go now. Don't go away now. Please stay in my Agnishala as the 4th Agni, and in 2-3 days time, I will try to fulfill your desire. Now Kautsa agrees, because when Raghu is so confident and he's appealing so much, Kautsa agrees. And now Raghu thinks, what shall I do? Because Gamatasaram Raghu apyavekshya nishkrashtumartham chakame kubera. So just now Raghu has gone all around the world in all directions and he has collected all the wealth. So there is no more wealth in this earth. So Gam. So you should remember, in Sanskrit, Gau has 2 meanings. One is cow and one is earth. So both are called Gau. So Gau, this Bhumi, Artasara is Nissara. After having done this Digvijaya, there is no more wealth that can be taken from this earth. So he understands, Gam Atasaram Apavekshya, having understood that this earth can generate no more wealth, Atasara, it's Nissara, he thinks, where is the other source that I can get this money from? Kubera. So he'll decide that I should get this money from Kubera, because this earth can no more support this amount of wealth. Then, having considered this idea, he decides to wage a war the very next day. And the beautiful idea, you should understand Kalidasa's depth in understanding the mentality of human beings. He tells that Raghu, once he decided that the next day he's going to wage a war on Kubera. So why did he wage a war? Why didn't he ask? Because as a king, you should not ask. You should win something, or the person should directly give you. Since he can't go and beg in front of Kubera, he decided, okay, let me wage a war. If I win, I will get the money, or else if I die, I'll attain moksha. But if I don't get anything, then at least I can tell Kautsa that I tried and I didn't get. So that is why he decided to wage a war. And once he decided, he went, put on his armor, took all his weapons, and went and slept in the chariot. So beautifully, why did he tell this particular line? Why did he include this detail? Is, let us say in the current world, you go ask someone for some amount of money, let us say. So they may tell, okay, come tomorrow, I don't have money now, or come after some days. But when you go back after some days, they may not even recognize you. First thing, they would have actually forgotten, or second thing, they would have just sent you away because they don't want to give, and they will act as though they don't know you at all. So that should not be the case. So let us say, Mata Anantalakshmi always gives this example. Let us say Raghu had gone back to his house, and there he would have told his wife, okay, so I'm going tomorrow to fight with Kubera. What if his wife would have told, you've already gone such a big Vijaya Yatra, you have come back tired, so why do you want to go in another battle? Just fine. He's ready to go to some other place, let him go. If that word would have come out and Raghu would have yielded, then the entire, the greatness of Ikshvaku Vamsha itself won't be there. So in order to not let his mind waver, in order to not let his mind change, the first thing he did is he went and slept in his chariot, because so that when he gets up, he should be like, okay, I'm going for a battle. So that is the greatness that Kalidasa tries to include in every small detail, to tell that once, even Karna, once he decides to do dana, he does not think. Only thing he thinks is, so dana, it is told that it should be done to a person who is fit. You should not do dana to every other person. If he is fit to receive the thing that you are giving, only then you should give. So only that he'll think. Once he thinks that yes, he's fit, he does not even give a second thought, he just gives it. That is how dana should be done. That is how a promise should be given. Once you give a promise, you should not give time for your mind to think. So that is why Raghu went and slept in the chariot itself, so that he gets up in the morning and is ready to go for battle. In the morning, what happens is Raghu is now preparing. So he's gathering all his army to go and wage a war. And at that point of time, the Koshadhikari, or the treasurer who is in charge of all the treasuries, and his Sainikas, they come running and they tell Raghu, "Oh Raghu, you have to come and see what is happening in the Koshagara." When they go there, they see that gold coins are showering from the sky in the middle of the treasury. And he understands that Kubera himself gave the money. So did Kubera get scared that Raghu is attacking and give the money? No. Kalidasa in another place in the same Raghuvamsha has mentioned that if a person is worthy and he asks for something, then giving him what he does without asking is not disgrace or fear. It is respecting. So if you give something because the person is worthy, it is showing that you respect that person. So because Kubera respected Raghu's capacity, that in order to fulfill Kautsa's wish, he's even ready to fight a battle against Kubera. He was impressed, and in order to respect his wishes, he himself showered the entire gold coins on the treasury of Raghu. And immediately, when that happened, if it was us, let us say if we were in that situation, probably what we would have done is we would have counted 14 crore coins, separated it at some place, told Kotsa, you take this, and we would have kept the remaining. But no, Raghu didn't do that. Once that fell, first thing he did is he brought Kotsa and he told, okay, this entire heap of gold is yours. And Kalidasa beautifully tells that this entire, as I've told you, there are some mountains that are given prominence, and Sumeru is a mountain that is told to be a mountain made out of gold. So this particular heap of gold looks like the peak of Sumeru that has been chopped off by Vajrayudha. So that is how big this heap of gold coins is. So he brings Kotsa and tells it, yes, please take this gold coins. But on one side, you have Kotsa, who does not want anything more than 14 crores, which he has to give as Guru Dakshina. On one side, you have Raghu, who wants to give everything. So beautifully, Kalidasa tells it, Janasya Saketa Nivasinastau, Dvavapya Bhutam Abhinanda Sattvo, Guru Pradeya Adhika Nispruhorthi, Dripaha Arthikama Adhika Pradascha. So Saketa is the place where Raghu is ruling. That is a province. So the people of Saketa Janasya, Dvo. So they are seeing two Abhinanda Sattvo, two respectable people. So they're seeing two respectable people. On one side is Guruhu Pradeya Adhika Nispruhorthi, Kautsa, Guruhu Pradeya, what is to be given to Guru, Adhika Nispruhaha, one who is not interested in anything more than what has to be given to the Guru. And on the other side, Nrupaha, the king, how is he? Arthikama, to the seeker. Arthikama is a person who is seeking some desire or money. So Arthikama, to that seeker, Adhika Pradaha, one who gives more than what he asks. So that type of two great people, the people of Saketa found that them to be the respectable people. Even when we discuss Mudra Rakshasam, we discuss that Sukthirathnani. Nirihanamisha Strinamiva Tiraskara Vishaya. Even here, Kautsa and Raghu, both of them are nisprahas. They don't want anything. So that is how beautifully Kalidasa gives this conclusion to this particular section of Raghu Raudaryam as well as Kautsasya Guru Bhakti. After having done this, our king Raghu makes arrangements using hundreds of camels and elephants to transport this 14 crore gold coins to Varatantu. What happened to that coin, money, we don't know later. There is no indication, but it just shows that Raghu was Udara and Kautsa had a great amount of Guru Bhakti. So once that is done, this Kautsa is very happy. So Kautsa is very happy and he tells a very good shloka. Kimatra chitram yadi kama surbhuhu vritte sthitasyaadhipateh prajanam achintaniyastu tava prabhavaha manishitam dyaurapi yena dukha. So if there is a king who is a very good king, he is a righteous king, he is looking after his citizens well, and if such a king asks the earth to give some amount of money, if the earth gives that amount of money, Kimatra chitram, there is nothing unusual, because the king he's ruling the land well, he's looking after the land very well. So as a gratitude, the land will surely give whatever the king asks. So that is not Kimatra chitram, there is nothing unusual. But achintaniyastu tava prabhavaha, but your influence or your power is achintaniyam, is unimaginable. Why? Manishitam, something that you desired, Dyaurapi yena dugdha. Dyav, who is Swarga, so who, in order to fulfill his wishes, even went and tried to get it from Swarga. So your influence or your power is unimaginable, is what Kautsa appreciates Raghu's capabilities. And finally he tells, so I bless you, O King Raghu, that you will get a son who is as great as you. Putram labhasva atma gunanurupam. You will beget a son who is atma gunanurupam, who is similar to you in all the qualities. And based on, so this ends the interaction between Raghu and Kautsa. And as a result of this boon, in the Brahmi Muhurta, Raghu's queen delivers a boy who is equivalent to Kartikeya, and he is named Aja. Aja. Is not, Ja is born. One who is unborn. Who is unborn? Brahma. Since he is born in the Brahmi Muhurta, he is given the name Aja, which is a similar, or it's a Paryaya Pada for Brahma. Now, he looks equivalent to Kartikeya. And again, time and again, if you see, whenever child is born, Kalidasa compares him to Kartikeya. Whenever he wants to describe the greatness of a lady, he always compares her to Parvati. Whenever he wants to compare the penance of a great person, he compares it to Shiva. So all this indicates that Kalidasa was a great Shiva Bhakta, and that is why whenever he gets a chance, he compares it to the family of Shiva. So that is one more thing that you can probably come to know when you read Kalidasa's works. So now, Aja is born. He is equivalent to looks, in courage, in his glow, everything to his father. He has finished his studies. As I've told you time and again, Kalidasa has made it clear. King of Raghukula, at a young age, they finished all their education. When they reached adolescent age, they started state affairs. When they became old, they went to Vanaprastha, and finally, they left this body by yoga. Similarly, Aja also completed all his education. Now he has reached a marriageable age. At that point of time, King Bhoja, so Bhoja is a king of Vidarbha Desha, he sends invitations for his sister Indumati's marriage. Raghu, he gets this invitation and he feels an alliance with a great king like Vidarbha is a very good thing. So he sends his son Aja with his army, to go for the Swayamvara. So when he is going on the way, since it's a very long journey, in the middle they rest near the banks of Narmada. When they're resting, what happens is from the river there emerges an intoxicated elephant. An intoxicated elephant, it's comes out of the river and starts spreading havoc. It starts rampaging. It starts destroying chariots. It starts carrying away the soldiers. It destroys the tents, everything. So at this point of time, everybody is scared of this huge elephant. But Aja is the only person who is courageous enough to face it. But it is told in scriptures. Kalidasa has also mentioned, Vanyaha karihi avadhyaha. Wild elephant should not be killed. And Aja, who is also well versed in scriptures, knows that he should not kill a wild elephant. Hence, what he does is he takes an arrow and he does not pull the string. So if you pull the string and leave it, probably it will kill it. So in order to not kill it, just to scare it away or just to make it run away or push it away, he just releases the arrow from a very small amount of bowstring. So he just pulls the bowstring a little and releases the arrow. But even though he does that, the arrow goes and hits the head of the elephant and it falls down. But from the body of that elephant comes a divine being. A divine being emerges from the body of that elephant, and Matanga Shapat Alepa Mulat Avaptavanasmi Matanga Jatvam Avehi Gandharva Patehe Tanujam Priyam Vadam Ma Priyadarshanasya. So, O King Aja, know that I am Gandharva Patehe, Gandharva Pati, that is Priyadarshana. Gandharvapati's name is Priyadarshana. Gandharvapate Tanujam. I am the son of Gandharvapati, Priyadarshana's son, and my name is called Priyamvada. And why am I in this situation? Matanga Shapat. Because of the curse given by a sage called Matanga, I have attained Matangatvam. So again, Matanga Chatvam. So again, there's a play of words. Matanga is the name of the sage. Matangaja is an elephant, a synonym for elephant. So Matanga cursed this Priyamvada to become a Matanga, attain Matanga Jatva, that is to become an elephant. So that is why I have attained this form of I had attained this form of an elephant. When I pleaded the sage Matanga for a lot, Matanga finally told that when a king of the Ikshvaku dynasty comes and shoots an arrow at your head, that is when you will be relieved from this curse. So Priyamvada is very happy that Raghu helped him relieve from his Aja helped him release from his curse, and he calls him Sakha. So again, Kalidasa repeats his ideas. So he tells, when you speak with a person for a long time, you can call him a friend. Even when Dilipa and Nikumba started speaking, after some time Raghu told, you have been speaking for some time, so I think I can call you a friend. So similarly, even here, Priyamvada calls Raghu as friend and tells that Sammohanam nama sakhe mama astram prayoga samhara vibhakta mantram. So, oh friend, this is a Gandharva astra called Sammohana. And now, what will I teach you? Prayoga samhara vibhakta mantram. So, I will teach you how to use it as well as how to revoke it. Because these normal arrows are fine, but when you are using these astras, great weapons, then you should always know how to release it as well as to revoke it or take it back. And we know Ashwathama only knew how to release Brahmastra but did not know how to take it back. And that is why that arrow was directed towards Uttara's womb where Parikshit was growing. And since he was tested, his name Parikshit, one who was tested or one who was challenged at his birth itself, is called Parikshit. So in a similar way, even here he is giving Gandharva Astra called Sammohana, and he's teaching him how to use it as well as take it back. And what is the beauty of the Sammohanastra? Na arihimsa vijayashta haste. So without even any himsa, without any torture or any bloodshed, vijayah haste, you will have victory at your hands. So you won't even hurt your enemies, but still victory will be at your hand. So that is the greatness of this astra. So once that is done, he gains all the mantras and he gains the astra, and after that he continues and goes to Bhoja's.
No, I read in a book about this, and then it told that it will make the spear that specific weapon will make the army sleep.
Yeah, Sammohana. The name itself is Sammohana, that will make the enemy sleep or swoon. Correct. That is the effect of that astra. Very good. Correct. So now, having done this, it will he'll continue with his army and he'll reach Vidarbha Desha. On reaching Vidarbha Desha, the Bhoja, the king Bhoja, he comes to the gates of the kingdom and he welcomes him personally. And again, Raghu is a very famous king and his son should also be respected. But here Kalidasa beautifully tells, Praveshya chainam punaragrayayi nichai tathopachara darpita shrihi mane yatha tatra janah sameto Vaidarbhamagantum ajam grahesham. So the king of Vidarbha, Bhoja, he came and he welcomed him and he went further and behind him Aja was following. And once he took him to the palace, Arpita Shrihi, he gave all his wealth. So because already the Raghu has completed one Digvijaya, but still to pay his respects to Ikshvaku dynasty, he brings and surrenders all the wealth. Shrihi, he surrenders it to Aja. And after surrendering, he stands very in a polite way, in a respectable way next to this Aja. And seeing this, Aja is sitting as a good king, and Vidarbha Raja is standing in a respectable manner. The people who came there, Sametaha, Janaha Sametaha. So the people who came there, what did they think? Vaidarbham Agantum. Agantum is a guest. So they misunderstood that Vidarbha Raja Bhoja is the guest and Ajam Grahesham, Aja is the host. So though Bhoja was the host and Aja was the guest, seeing the way they were standing and looking at each other, they got the misunderstanding that Aja was the host and Bhoja was the guest. So beautifully, Kalidasa mentions this. Once that is done, Aja is taken to his guest palace and he is given a place to sleep, and Aja sleeps. Now in the morning, Aja has to get up, and at this point of time, as we know, Kalidasa is a Prakriti Kavi, again and again I've been telling you, whenever whenever there is a new place, so Vidarbha Raja has not been described till now, Vidarbha Rajya has not been described till now. So now that something is happening there, the first thing he does is he explains what is the speciality of the place, what are the trees that grow there, what are the flowers, what are the fruits, what are the birds. So he explains all that in detail, but he needs some reason to do that. So the reason he takes here is Suprabhata, to wake up Aja. He has always, when he goes, he has his ministers, he surely have some poets along with him to make poems immediately. So those poets, they create these poems in a Suprabhata fashion. They try to wake Aja, but in an indirect way, they're also describing the city of Vidarbha. So I won't go into the details, but if you get a chance, read through these, probably 15-20 shlokas itself Kalidasa has taken to describe. So he, explains the Prakriti Saundarya. He explains that the trees have started blooming in the morning. The lotuses have, bloomed because the sun has risen. The moon has set and, the Andhakara has gone away. The flowers have started blooming and the bees have started hovering over these flowers. The elephants have, risen from their sleep. Horses are ready to go, take your chariot further. So all these, in a beautiful way, he explains all these animals, birds and flowers. And finally, after all these explanations, Aja wakes up and he wears the garments suitable for a suitor. So he's now going to Swayamvara. So he wears the, garments that are befitting for a suitor. And then he goes into the Swayamvara hall. So this marks the end of Panchama Sarga. So we'll probably go finish 6th Sarga, that is the end of Aja. But again, the thing is, I'm taking probably a lot of time, but I want you to enjoy it. So probably we'll end it at 6th Sarga, Shashtama Sarga, and then we will continue again. Probably 2 more classes will be needed for finishing Raghuvamsha. So now, Shashtama Sarga, the 6th Sarga. So as I've told you, there are 3 incidents that are important in Aja's life. Hence, there are 3 Sargas dedicated to him. So already we have seen that Aja has won over this person called he has defeated, or he has got the Gandharvastra. But there are several incidents that are happening in Aja's life which are important. So this Sarga 6, 7, and 8 are the 3 Sargas which are dedicated to Aja. So whatever we saw about the Gandharva was not a main incident. So the 6th Sarga, that is the Swayamvara of Indumati, is one of the first important aspects of Aja's life. So the entire 6th Sarga is about Indumati Swayamvara. Now, all the kings who have come from different kingdoms, they have already occupied their seats. And when Aja comes, Kalidasa describes that Aja sees these kings as though they are gods who are sitting on their chariots or their flying chariots, ready to go somewhere. So they are so glamorous, and they are wearing such good ornaments that they look like Devata sitting on chariots. Now, once this Aja goes and sits there, Kalidasa makes a very good statement. Kakutsthamalokayatam nripanam manobabhuven Indumati nirasham. Kakutstha. So the lineage in which Aja is born is called Kakutstha, because Kakutstha is a king who had been there even before Aja, Dilipa, all these kings, and the people who come later, even Rama is called Kakutstha in some cases. So that when Kakutstha, that is Aja, came and sat in his throne or in his seat, what did the other Nripana, what did they feel? Nripana Manaha, the minds of the other kings, Bhut Indumati Nirasham, they became dejected. They became dejected that surely they will not be able to win Indumati, because seeing Aja's form, his glow, his aura and all that, they're already dejected that they've already lost Indumati. And why they tell this is because Aja is looking like Manmatha, and it is as though Rati, we saw in Kumara Sambhavam as well, Rati, once Manmatha Dahanam happens, Rati goes and here they're telling that Rati went and pleaded Shiva that please bring back my husband. So Shiva told that, okay, sure, I will bring back your husband, and later in time you both will be united. So that boon that Shiva gave, that Rati and Manmatha will unite, is as though Indumati in the form of Rati has come to unite with Manmatha in the form of Aja. So since Manmatha, Aja is looking like Manmatha, surely you have lost all our hopes that we will win Indumati. So having told this, Aja assumes his throne. He sits on his throne, and again Kalidasa uses the simile. He compares him with Kartikeya. So the way he sits on the throne is like how Kartikeya sits on his peacock. Again, I've told you, Kalidasa uses Kartikeya, Shiva most of the times to compare. So now this Indumati, the Vidarbha Raja's sister, she is brought in a palanquin, that is Pallaki, what you call. So 4 people are bringing her in a palanquin into the Rajamarga, and once she comes out of the palanquin, she is dressed in a very beautiful garment. She's wearing beautiful ornaments, and she is holding a garland made out of Madhuka flowers. So it is usually customary that during Swayamvaras, the queen or the person who is the owner of the Swayamvara, that is the lady or the princess, she always holds a garland. And Kalidasa mentions that in this particular situation, the garland is made out of Madhuka flowers. Now, once Indumati comes out of the palanquin, all the kings look at her and they're attracted towards her. So till now, Kalidasa initially mentions that when Aja came, he felt that all the kings who were sitting there were like Devata sitting on the chariots. But once they saw Indumati, they started acting in different ways. Like they started, making a mockery of themselves. So what happened, Kalidasa beautifully tells. So there is one king who is twirling, or he's rotating a lotus flower in his hand. There is another guy who's trying to make his Angavastra fall down so that as though he's showing how well built his body is. There's a third king who has become very shy. So usually shyness is given, there is a quality of women, but this king, even though he's a king, he becomes shy. He starts looking down, and he looks in narrow glances at Indumati. And there is another person who has, the kings are usually given big seats. So this particular king, he has moved to one side of the seat, indicating that, so I've given you half of my seat, so please come and sit with me. So he's giving such a type of indication. And there is one more guy who is breaking the petals of a rose flower, and he's throwing it on the ground. and there is one more guy who is probably a very good Dhyuta Krida player, who is a gambler. So he's throwing and catching his dice. And one more guy, he's trying to show, he's trying to bring out the ornaments that are inside his Angavastra to show that I have very good ornaments, I have diamond-studded ornaments. So in this way, people are acting in a weird way. They want to try to get Indumati's attention because they feel that if she comes for a Swayamvara and she nothing, if they don't do all this, she won't be attracted. So of course it had the negative effect. Indumati started disliking these people who were acting in this weird way. And then the Swayamvara actually started. At this point of time, Indumati has a friend called Sunanda. And the Sunanda is a type of Pragalbhastri. So in Sanskrit, these types of women are called Pragalbhastri, who they are not at all shy. They are not at all shy in speaking, and they're very open. They don't think, okay, should I tell this? Should I not tell this? Will it be good if I tell this or something? They don't think about anything. They're very open about their thoughts. They don't have any, aspect of shyness, but they're very good at speaking. So these type of women are called Pragalbhastri. So this Sunanda is a friend of Indumati, and because of this character, she's given the duty of introducing Indumati to all these kings. So she makes very beautiful comments, like as you can see, I'm actually going into the Swayamvara quite a lot because it is a very interesting part, and Kalidasa gets several names, as you know, Upama Kalidasasya, Kavikula Guru Kalidasa, all these. Another name is given to him, which comes because of this particular sarga. So we'll go a little more into detail of this. So Sunanda is the lady who will be introducing Indumati to all the kings. Now, first they go to the first king. He is the king of Magadha, who is called Parantapa. Now, she starts explaining the qualities or the greatness of this king. She tells, O Queen Indumati, so this person called Parantapa is true to his name. So Parantapa, one who gives sorrow. Tapa is sorrow to others, Paran. So one who gives sorrow to the others, that is his enemies. He is a very strong king. He gives his enemies a very hard time. So he's befitting his name. And he's also one of the greatest of the Magadha kings. And he has performed yajnas on Indra so much. And Indra is always pleased. So usually whenever you perform a yajna and the deity, presiding deity is happy, he should come and he should appear before you and he should bless you. That is the custom. So he is performing so much of yaga and with so much of dedication that Indra has to come frequently to bless him, because he's doing so much of yagas on Indra. And beautifully, Sunanda, of course, Kalidasa has brought it out from the mouth of Sunanda that at one point of time before this Parantapa started doing the yagas, this Indra has started combing his wife Shashi Devi's hair. So he has opened her hair, untied her hair, and he's combing, and he has promised that he will tie her hair. But once Parantapa started doing the yagas, Indra has to come so frequently that even he does not have the time to go back and tie back her hair. So that is how much of penance or yajnas this Parantapa is doing. And after having told all this, she tells, okay, the king, if you marry this king, then you will be welcomed by the women of Pushpapura. So Pushpapura is the capital city of this Magadha king. So when you go there, the women will welcome you very well. And Kalidasa's beauty is this. Now he is not only describing, of course, when you go further, you'll understand. Not only is he describing the qualities of the king, but Sunanda also tells what is the Prakriti Saundarya. So because it is a new place, as I've told you, whenever he's describing a new place, he also describes the Prakriti there. So I have not taken all the details, but whenever I find some very good details, I have included that. So at this point, she tells that if you marry this king, the women of Pushpapura will come and welcome you. But now Indumati, what she'll tell is, okay, she salutes and she tells, we'll go ahead. So that is an understanding that, okay, I don't want to marry this guy. And why Kalidasa is beautiful, why Kalidasa is so great is, it is the same thing. She rejects one person, she goes to another person. She rejects another person, she goes to the next person. But even this repeated work, he uses different expansions to give reasons. For example, so once, Indumati tells it, okay, I don't want. Kalidasa tells it, similar to how a wave pushes a swan from one lotus to another lotus. So a lotus is probably sucking nectar from a lotus. But when a wave comes, it washes this swan and takes it to another lotus. Similar to that, Sunanda took this Indumati from one king to the next king. So how she rejects that person is also given different explanation. It's not like, she did reject it, she went further. No. Kalidasa uses his language to the best extent, telling that for every rejection, he gives a very good simile. So now she has rejected Parantapa. Next she goes to the king of Anga. So now Sunanda starts telling. So this is the king of Anga, and his body or his figure is so great, and his beauty is so great that even apsaras are very attracted towards this person. And his quality or his capacity is he can instantly create poems. He's a very good kavi, so he can instantly create poems. And it is told that he can create poems that can tame elephants. So even elephants are tamed by reciting his poems. And because of this quality, he's being considered the Indra on earth. Because Indra, we know, is also a person who rides the elephant. Even this person, because of his capacity to tame elephants, has been called the Indra on earth. And another beautiful quality that Sunanda tells is, in this person, in this king, both Lakshmi as well as Saraswati reside. So it is a very rare combination that the same person is bestowed with both Lakshmi as well as Saraswati. But this particular king of Anga has both Lakshmi and Saraswati residing in him. And Sunanda will tell that if you marry him, you will be the third goddess who will reside in him. Beautifully, that Sunanda will tell. Finally, she this Indumati will tell, okay, yeah, let us go. And here comes one of the most famous phrases, so Sukthi, that you come across in several places. So Kalidasa asks the readers that, why did Indumati let go of this king of Anga? Wasn't he good? Wasn't he beautiful? Wasn't he attractive? Or did he not understand the qualities of the king? He tells, Atha Angarajat Avatari Chakshu. So of course, whenever someone is introducing you, finally the princess will look at the king to see if he's actually beautiful, if Sunanda is actually telling the truth or not. So Avatarya. So after seeing Avatarya, she moved her glance away. So she indirectly saying that she's done. And Chakshu Yahi. She tells Yahi iti Avadat Kumari. So she tells Sunanda, Yahi, let us go. Na asau na kamyaha. So again, he uses a dual negation. Na asau na kamyaha. It is not that this person is not likable. He is likable only. Na asau na cha vedaha. It's not like she did not understand this person or understand the qualities of this person. Na samyak adrashtat. It's not like she did not look at him very well. But the reason why she did not accept this king of Anga is bhinna ruchirhi lokaha. Loko bhinna ruchihi. This phrase is probably one of the most common phrases that is used in several places. Whenever someone starts speaking, a very common phrase that they use is Loko Bhinna Ruchihi. And that Loko Bhinna Ruchihi Sukthi comes from this Indumati Swayamvara from the 6th Sarga of Raghuvamsham. So Loko Bhinna Ruchihi. It was not because the king of Anga was not good looking. It was not because he was not worthy. It was because Indumati had different taste. And since different people have different tastes, that is why the phrase has come Loko Bhinna Ruchihi. Finally, after king of Anga, they go to the king of Avanti, and she tells Sunanda, he has very long arms, he has a very broad shoulder, and it is told that Vishwakarma himself carved his body out of Surya. So he took Surya and he made another Pratirupa of Surya, and that person itself is this king of Avanti. And he has gone on several Vijaya Yatras, and he is very successful. And he resides again. From here, you can see that Kalidasa includes details of that king's kingdom. He tells that this king of Avanti resides very close to the temple of Mahakala Shiva, and his gardens are watered by the river Shipra. So now she has told about all this. Now again, how she rejects this person. So the first time when she rejected, Kalidasa told that like a wave taking the swan from one lotus to another, Sunanda took her. Second time he told that Loko Bhinnaruchi, she had different tastes, so she didn't like him. Third time when she rejects, Kalidasa beautifully tells. So in the beginning, Sunanda tells that he has been carved from Surya. So Kalidasa tells that Indumati is a night lotus. She only blooms when there is moon. Hence, when there is sun, what is the use of night lotus? So that is why she rejected this particular king of Avanti. So I've not included all of them, but again, seriously, if you want to read Raghuvamsham, this is a very good part to read and understand Kalidasa's greatness. Now, they go to the king of Anupa. So Anupa is the province, and the king of Anupa is called Pratipa. And this Pratipa is the descendant of Kartaviryajana. So the Kartaviryajana, Sunanda is. So that Kartaviryajana who had thousands of arms and who was a very good, bhakta. So that person's successor is this particular Pratipa. And greatness of Kartaviryajana also, she tells that Kartaviryajana was so strong that he could single-handedly, capture Ravana and keep him in his, keep him under his control. Only when he wanted, he left Ravana. So he was so strong to capture even Ravana. And this Pratipa's kingdom capital is called Mahishmati. And Parashurama, we know, he went around the world 13 times killing all the Kshatriyas. But because of the power of Pratipa, even Parashurama could not kill him. And beautifully, she puts it in words saying that Even the sharp edge of Parashurama's axe were like as delicate as lotus petal for him. That is, even Parashurama's axe could not kill Pratipa. And his very good ally or his supporter is Agni Deva. So Agni Deva, that is the god of fire, is a supporter of this Pratipa, and he's always hence victorious. So whenever there is a battle, Agni Deva comes and he burns all the enemies, and that is why this person is always victorious. And he tells, so if you marry this guy, this person, then you will be able to bathe in the Narmada river. So this particular Mahishmati is on the banks of Narmada. So she tells that if you go there, you'll be able to bathe in the pure the great Narmada river. She goes further. Then comes the king of Shurasena called Sushena. So this Sushena is a very famous king, and his fame is spread all around the world. Everyone in this world knows about his greatness. And the animals in this kingdom have let go of enmity. In Kumar Sambhava also we saw, once Parvati went to that Gauri Shikara, all the animals, they started letting go of their enmity and they became friends. Similarly, here also, once because of this Sushena's influence, the enmity between animals has been gone and they're all living like friends. And this Shurasena's ancestor has Kalinga, the serpent Kalinga, when he was escaping from Garuda, he gave the Nagamani. So every snake has a Nagamani. So he gave the Nagamani and entrusted the safety of Nagamani of Kalinga to one of the ancestors of this Sushena. And this Sushena still now, till now wears that Nagamani as his ornament. And this ornament is actually so beautiful that it even competes with Kaustubha Mani that even Vishnu wears. So if you marry him, because she's telling that Kalinga, Yamuna and all that, so this kingdom also includes the beautiful Vrindavan gardens. So if you go there, you will be able to spend time in the Vrindavan gardens and even see the peacocks dance in Govardhana mountain. So again, beautifully this tells. So again, as you can see, there are some cities. This thing, Mathura, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Hyamantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva, Sapteta, Mokshadaita. So we have already seen Avanti, we've already seen these, Mathura and all those places. So she's telling that these are very beautiful places. So if you marry them, you'll be able to enjoy the beauty of these places. After rejecting Sushena, they go to the king of Kalinga called Hemangada. So Sunanda tells that he's as great as Mount Mahendra, and he's strong. He's a very good archer. He's an expert archer, and his palace is on the banks of the ocean. So if you open your window, you'll be able to see the Samudra Deva. And further, his greatness is such that Samudra Deva himself comes in the morning to wake this Hemangada in the morning. And if you marry him, you can enjoy the beautiful palm trees. So this particular province is famous for palm trees. And being on the coastal region, the main crop that they grow is cloves, lavanga, what you call. So that if you go there, you'll be able to enjoy the palm trees and also the smell of lavanga or clove. She tells no, she goes further. Then King Pandya, his name is called, and the king of Pandya, his capital is called Nagapattanam. And she tells, so he is a very powerful king. He's on the verge of completing the Ashwamedha Yajna, and he is even respected by Agastya. And how great is he? Like his, the kings who have ruled this Pandya region are very powerful. It is told that Ravana, so Ravana we know lived in Lanka, but he had appointed some of his Rakshasas in Janasthana. So Janasthana is the place where Khara, Dushana and all those Rakshasas of Ravana were residing. So, and it was very close to Pandya kingdom. So Ravana was scared that Pandya king was so strong that he could even destroy Janasthana, because this Pandya king would have gained an astra called Brahma Shiro Astra. So he's scared. Ravana was scared that if he does not become a friend with the Pandya kingdom, then the Pandya king will destroy his foothold at Janasthana. So even before Ravana went to conquer Indraloka, he went to first become friends with Pandya kingdom, because if he became friend with Pandya king, then surely winning Indraloka is like a very small act compared to this. So that is how great this particular Pandya king is. And if you marry him, you'll be surrounded by oceans everywhere, and you'll be able to get the gems from these Ratnakara, as we call it, from gems from these oceans, and you'll become the queen of the south. And you can also enjoy the sandalwood. Sandalwood is a very famous tree that grows in the south. So she again tells no. Then she goes further. Now at this point of time, she has been rejecting people and she has been going ahead. So at this point, like Kalidasa beautifully mentions, how she is rejecting and going further. Sancharini Deepa Shikheva Ratrau Yam Yam Yatiyaya Patim Varasa Narendra Margata Iva Prapede Vivarna bhavam sasabhu bhumi palaha. This is the line that I was telling you gave Kalidasa another birudu, another name. First, I'll explain this shloka. So let us say you are going with a torch or a lantern. So in the dark, in the night, in the dark, when you are going with a lantern, what is the effect? When you go to a place, that light will shed, the lantern will shed light on a particular object. But once you go further, that object is again put in the darkness and you go further. Similarly, Indumati was like a lantern and Sunanda was the light. So she was shedding light. So when they go to a king, Sunanda is telling about the greatness of that king, about the qualities of the king. So that is the light. So she is shedding light. But no, Indumati is like a lantern. She is going from one king to another, putting the previous king in darkness. Vivarna bhavam sasabhumi pala. The kings who were rejected are dejected and they become they go into the darkness. So she is like the Deepa Shikha. She is like the lantern which is going from one king to another, first lightening them up with the light, finally rejecting them and putting them in darkness. So this sentence or this shloka gives Kalidasa the name Deepa Shikha Kavi. Deepa Shikha Kavi is the name that Kalidasa has got because of this beautiful simile. No one can ever think about this. How he has compared rejection of Indumati of kings to the way a lantern moves in a dark path. So that is why he has got the name Deepa Shikha Kavi. So after having rejected so many people, she finally reaches Aja. Now, in the initial paragraph, we told that some kings were throwing petals, some kings were throwing dice and all that. But Aja was quite, he was dignified. But now, seeing the way Indumati was, rejecting people front and back, even Aja is scared that will she accept me or not. So, but Kalidasa beautifully tells that Nahi Prafulla Sahakarametya Vrikshantaram Kakshati Shatpadani. So a bee, if it sees a tree that is in full bloom, if there are several flowers that have bloomed on a tree, a bee will never go to another tree leaving this tree. Similarly, Aja is like a fully bloomed tree with all the good qualities, with a good body, well-built body, who is a very good archer, who is a very good fighter. So he's a person with so many good qualities. So why will a bee like Indumati leave this tree like Aja and go elsewhere? So similarly, she stood there. So even before, usually Sunanda will tell, okay, stop here, this is the king. But no, this time Indumati herself stopped. Now Sunanda understands that, okay, now Indumati probably has decided that Aja is the king that she wants to marry. So she starts telling even more. So already she's giving some small explanation about kings, but seeing that she's interested in Aja, she gives even more details. She tells he's from the Ikshvaku dynasty, and he's the he's come under his predecessors is Kakutstha. So here again Kakutstha is used, and Kalidasa tells about the greatness of Kakutstha. So what happens is Kakutstha is the king who is a very great ally of Indra. So whenever Indra goes on a battle, Kakutstha accompanies and they're always victorious. But at one time, what this Kakutstha does is, so Indra comes and tells that, okay, I want your help in fighting some Asuras. But Kakutstha will tell that, okay, we'll come to battle, but only if you will take the form of a bull and I will ride on you. So Indra, in order to win the Asuras, he'll take the form of a bull and Kakutstha will sit on that bull and he'll go and win against the Asura. So such is the greatness of this Kakutstha, and it is told that he was fighting the army as though Shiva was sitting on his Nandi and fighting the war. So that is the greatness of Kakutstha. And Indra was so close with this Kakutstha that he even shared his seat. So half of the seat Indra was sitting and half of the seat Kakutstha was sitting because they were so close. And finally, after that, in the same Vamsha, there is the great king called Dilipa who performed 99 yagas and was attained the fruits of all the 100 yagas. But why did he perform only 99 yagas? Because he did not want to go above Indra. So he did only 99 yagas. So he's still below Indra, but he still has the complete phala of 100 yagas. And then comes Raghu. So Raghu is the son of Dilipa, who has also performed the Vishwajit Yajna, who has given away all the wealth, and who has, whose chariot is told to have gone on top of mountains, on oceans, and who has, even gone to the Naka. So Anaka's Rathavatmana, so whose chariot even has reached the sky or the heaven. Such a type of Raghu's son is this King Aja, and Aja is not even the king anymore. But he's a very, great king. He has all the good qualities and everything. And both of you, Indumati, she tells Indumati, you and Aja both have very similar qualities. You both are from very good clans, so you should marry him. And she tells in a very beautiful, sentence that if you marry him, it will be like as though a jewel has united with gold. So we know A jewel becomes beautiful when gold and let us say a gem like a diamond go along with it. Then the jewel becomes even more beautiful. There's a subhashita which tells that manina valayah valayena manihi manina valayena vibhati karah. So money, pearl, becomes beautiful because of valaya, the bangle. A golden bangle increases the beauty of the pearl, and the pearl increases the beauty of the bangle. But when both bangle with the pearl is worn, the hand becomes even more beautiful. Similarly, she tells that if you marry this king, then it will be like adding a jewel to the gold ornament, which increases its beauty. Now, after telling all this, Indumati is still standing there. But now, as we know, even in Kumara Sambhava, when Parvati's marriage preparations were going on, she had some Sakhis who were making some jokes always. So here also, this Sunanda makes a very beautiful joke. So she tells, Arye Vrajamaha Anyatra. She starts telling. So till now, once she is telling that, when she describes a king, Indumati she tell, okay, yeah, let us go. Now Sunanda herself asks, Arye, oh princess, Vrajamaha Anyatra, let us go somewhere else. She starts asking. She knows that Indumati has liked in Aja, but still, being Sunanda, who is not worried about talking openly, she directly asks, oh princess, so shall we move further? Then Indumati gives a very blank stare at her and she understands, okay, that is fine. So now Indumati accepts Aja and she garlands him. And what did the people say about Indumati choosing Aja? Beautifully, they tell that Shashinam Upagateyam Kaumudi Meghamuktam Jalanidhi Manurupam Janhu Kanyavatirana. Similar to how moonlight befits the moon and how Ganga befits Samudra Deva, similarly Indumati is befitting Aja. And how is the Sabha? So after all this is done, now Kalidasa beautifully concludes this sarga by explaining how the Sabha is. So at this point of time, there's only one happy person. Of course, Vidarbha Raja is also happy, but among the people who came for Swayamvara, one person is happy, that is Raghu. But there are all the dejected faces. There are some kings who were rejected, but there were some more kings who were after Raja who were not even seen. Indumati did not even see those people. Before that only she accepted Aja. So there are two parties. Kalidasa describes it as two parties. One is the happy party of Raghu, who is the bridegroom, and the other is the party of these rejected and dejected kings. And how are these people? Beautifully, he puts it in words. Pramodita varapeksham ekatastat kshitipati mandalam anyato vitanam ushasi sara iva prafulla padmam kumudavana pratipanna nidramasit. So he's telling that these two pakshas are like two different flowers. Raghu is like the lotus, and these other kings are like night lotuses. So in a pond, both these lotuses are present, but it is already morning. So what is happening? These lotuses have bloomed happily because the sun has come, but these night lotuses, they only bloom in the night, so they have become dejected and they have withered. So similarly, Raghu, who has married Indumati, who has been accepted by Indumati in marriage, is the blooming lotus, and these other kings are like the night lotuses who have withered because of this incident. So in this beautiful way, this concludes the Shashtama Sarga, the sixth Sarga of Raghuvamsham, which ends the Indumati Swayamvara. So this is where we will conclude today's class, and hopefully we will take 2 classes to describe and complete Raghuvamsham. So hope that is fine with all of you. Gururev agatihi gurumev bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na guroh paramam shishurasmi gurur matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. Ram Ram Ram.